this morning. So is it perfect timing for Sanders? He got the start against the Panthers on Friday, playing into the third quarter. Sanders' final numbers, 14 of 23 for 138 yards with 2 touchdowns and no picks. And now that begs the question, how will the Browns handle their quarterback situation this week? New on SportsCenter, Kevin Stefanski talked about the state of his quarterbacks ahead of today's practice.
Dylan can do some 11 on 11. Obviously, we're still mindful of his tightness in the hamstring. Kenny, not just yet 11 on 11, but both guys progressing well. I'm not there on the game itself. By Wednesday, Thursday, I'll have a better feel for the game and how we're going to handle that. I'm not going to get into reps. We're going to continue to mix these guys, and we are trying to be very intentional about our quarterback's development, and I'm really pleased with where both our young guys are, and I could say that about our entire rookie class. They're all working very hard. They're all taking coaching and understanding that this is a progression for them.
All right, Dan Graziano and Sam Acho are here to talk a little bit more about this. Dan, what are you hearing about how Shedeur's performance against the Panthers is impacting his status going forward?
Yeah, it's a positive data point, Christine. Obviously, there are quarterbacks that kind of do better when the lights come on, and it's a game situation. And if the Browns wondered that about Shedeur Sanders, then this past weekend answered it in a positive way. So you hear Kevin Stefanski talking about the quarterback depth chart there. He's being asked about it. He's talking about progression for the rookies, Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. Shedeur Sanders got this opportunity because of injuries to Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett, who have both been ahead of him on the depth chart this offseason. Today, they have practice. According to the reporters that are there, Joe Flacco got the reps with the starters, and Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders kind of rotated reps with the second and third team, while Kenny Pickett is still working his way back from his injury. So what's there is opportunity for Shedeur Sanders to move up, to convince the Browns that maybe he is worthy of a number 2 spot or a number 3 spot if Joe Flacco projects as the starter. But it's all part of what they're seeing in practice, what they're seeing and hearing from him in the meeting rooms, and yes, of course, what he did on that big stage the other day in the game situation.
Yeah, we know Shedeur has definitely been waiting for that moment. Sam, what stood out to you about his preseason debut?
Shedeur Sanders looked like a veteran. He did not look like a rookie quarterback. What stood out to me was his presence not only in the pocket, but outside of the pocket. There was a play in the game, his first touchdown, where he rolled out to his left, a throw on the run, layered the ball over a defender in the end zone for a touchdown. That's a veteran type of play. The ball jumped off of the screen. You don't see that from rookies normally. Now, there were a couple rookie mistakes, but that's not what stood out to me. What stood out to me was the fact that he used his legs, not just on that play, other plays of him escaping in the pocket. He wasn't known to be a scrambling type of quarterback, but he does have that in his arsenal.
Acho, we just heard Dan break down kind of how the depth chart has been shaking out. Do you think that Shedeur can build off of this and climb up the depth chart before the season starts?
Without a doubt, I think Shedeur could be the number 2 quarterback by the time the preseason ends. This is just one of maybe 30 different data points. 3 preseason games are bigger data points, but they are data points. You look at practices, the film room, meeting, how does somebody conduct themselves? But more than anything, it's how you perform on Sundays, or in this case, Saturdays. Game days matter, and Shedeur Sanders is playing. Other quarterbacks aren't, whether because of injury or otherwise. That's why he has a huge opportunity to be the number 2 quarterback on this roster. I think Joe Flacco is likely going to be the starter, but if Shedeur keeps on playing the way he plays, he'll be number 2.
I don't think there's any doubt Cleveland's open to anything when it comes to this quarterback competition. They've been looking for the answer at the quarterback position for a quarter of a century now. If Shedeur Sanders continues to show those positive data points, then he has absolutely every opportunity to keep moving up and maybe at some point this season get a shot to be the starter in a regular season game.
Yeah, it's been our favorite story of the offseason, trying to figure out what exactly the Browns were going to do at quarterback, so we'll see how that shakes out. Dan, Sam, thanks.
Adam Schefter joins us now. Shefty, let's start with that QB room in Cleveland. It is crowded. After what we saw Friday from Shedeur, what are you hearing about that competition?
Well, Phil, it's crowded and it's injured, and that's why Shedeur Sanders got the opportunity that he did on Friday night to play as long as he did, because Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel have been dealing with hamstring injuries, and Shedeur Sanders came out and did exactly what he needed to do. He played 45 snaps, and he played well. He wasn't satisfied with the performance, but it was hard not to watch him and feel like he couldn't start at the NFL level. He shined. He'll have the chance to continue that in the preseason. And if he plays at the level that he did Friday night, it's going to be very difficult for the Cleveland Browns to keep him off the field over the course of this season.
Just want to say, Browns QB jersey guy
in Cleveland at this point still. Is that the decision you would make if you were Kevin Stefanski?
Nope, not at all. Shedeur Sanders earned the right based on how he played. And if we were running the Browns, we're hoping either him or Dillon Gabriel, their third-round pick, become the starter. You have 2 first-round picks next year. You need to know what you have in Shedeur Sanders, who to me has a lot more ability than Dillon Gabriel. He played very well. What we saw in Colorado, accuracy, anticipation. So I think this job should be determined on how they play and give Shedeur more opportunities.
Yeah, and Shedeur played so well, ESPN Bet has taken some of his player props off the board, I imagine, because people are getting interested in the overs. Let's go to New York now here, Mike T. Finally, Russell Wilson already has been named the Giants' Week 1 starter. Is that a decision that you're okay with?
No. I would have given Jackson Dart the playbook in Green Bay, Wisconsin the second he was drafted and lived with the growing pains. He played really well against Buffalo. And when you talk to people in that organization over the last 10 days, they're very happy with his development. I'd rather have a young, ascending Jackson Dart, much the way we had Mark Sanchez with the Jets, than an old, descending player, Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston. So similar to Sanders, Jackson Dart played well. He has earned the right to play more and eventually start as soon as opening day.
All right, thank you, Mike T. And great decision, by the way, to start your day with avocado.
Sunday night. What more can you tell us there?
All right, Phil, let's bring you the very latest here on the Eagles' Pro Bowl guard, Landon Dickerson. He was listed on the injury report on Saturday with a knee injury. He went into the practice on Sunday night and hurt his knee again. He is scheduled to undergo an MRI today to determine the extent of the damage. You could see he could barely put weight on that injury on Sunday night. It is a knee again. He's had knee issues in the past, and he's also been a dominant offensive lineman. He's somebody that the Eagles do not want to lose. We'll see what that test shows today, and that should tell the story of how much time Landon Dickerson will miss and when and if the Eagles can expect him back.
Yeah, that O-line was a hallmark of their Super Bowl run. Adam, the Rams were closer than anybody to beating the Eagles in the playoffs last year. Now Matt Stafford's been out the entire summer with a nagging back problem. What's the status of the Rams' 37-year-old QB?
Through Saturday, for the first time this summer in practice, and looked good, made 68 throws. The Rams were very pleased, and Sean McVay, the Rams head coach, said the plan is to work him back into practice starting today, which will be the first practice reps really that he's had this summer. We'll see whether or not it's full team practice for Matthew Stafford. But the bottom line here, Phil, is that Matthew Stafford, despite the fact that it is a back injury, it is a disc in his back, is trending the right way. The Rams have intentionally been very cautious with the way they've handled their 37-year-old quarterback. They knew the season begins in September, not August, which is why they have not rushed him this summer. And right now they feel pretty good about the way he looked on Saturday, and they're expecting more of the same this week.
We forget how good LA looked in November and December of last year. They won 6 of their last 7, and in that time, Stafford, 11 touchdowns to just 1 hit.